Welcome to Masala of Cultures.
A show by Luisa and Ashwin.
Join us to connect and grow through differences.
Hola Masala, we are glad to be back, and in today's video we are going to talk about this mindset and elements from our cultures that we have to live apart in order to be together.
In intercultural relationships, especially, we are coming from two different cultures. We are coming from two different parts of the world, and it's definitely needed to shed some mindsets we have and adopt some new ones and create some new ones even.
So, in case you don't know us, I am Luisa from Colombia and my husband Ashwin from India. We met 5 years ago. We met in the US and we have been together since then. Although we met in that middle point, I think it was still very naive from us to think that everything could be solved easily just with our previous mindset.
Over the years, we've just learned so many things from couples like us, especially on Instagram and reading other websites from people like us. It's just opened us to so many new things that we never knew before. Of course, unless we actually face a problem, we don't really look into how to solve it, right? So it was the same thing with us. Like, we had a few questions here and there, and every time we had one, we just sought online to get help, and from just taking examples from people like us who've been in relationships for 20 years, 30 years, who've seen it all and done it all. So that's also one of the reasons why we are doing this, so we can actually help people like us in similar situations.
The first mindset that we had to change was the stereotyping, because I think in India you do have an accurate view of what the West can look like, or I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good definition, because we are exposed to a lot of elements from the West. There's a lot of movies, there's a lot of TV series, and we have everything from Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, whatnot, right? And then we watch a lot of movies, not just local ones, but also international ones. For example, whenever a Marvel movie releases, or even great movies like Interstellar receive great reception within the Indian audience, and we just have a lot of exposure. I think that's the right word. We have a lot of exposure to what life looks like in the West and what their values are, what their day-to-day life looks like, despite it being entirely different than what we go through here in India.
And for example, in my case, I come from a small town in the middle of Colombia. Imagine the most average Colombian, and that's me. I didn't have any exposure to what Indian culture could look like. I think maybe 1 or 2 classes during high school had some topic related to that. Maybe 1 or 2 movies. I'm sure that it was from Shah Rukh Khan, and that's all. I remember I was so sure that Aladdin was Indian. Those are like misconceptions that I had, and I hope I wasn't the only one. Maybe I was too ignorant, yes, but I know that I was not the only one. So that is the main problem of this mindset, and it's the stereotypes. For me, Indians were mainly backwards towards the view of women, and for example, I thought that while marrying you, my parents-in-law were going to force me to wear certain type of clothes and, I don't know, make me be in the kitchen 24/7, and those are things that didn't happen in reality, because we have to let go those negative biases that our brain has created over many years because of the media portray, in order to actually get to know one culture. Once we let go of those views, we give new space to actually see what's going on outside.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with you because, I also had a similar experience. So, whenever people talk about Colombia, it's either one of these two or three things. Like they're really good at football, they're really good at dancing, salsa is huge there, and of course, we cannot deny that cocaine, like the drug trafficking, is huge in Colombia, and we've seen a lot in the media as well. There's a lot of movies, TV series taken about the Colombian drug trade, about Pablo Escobar and people like them. So when I went to Colombia, I just had this misconception that many people consume cocaine, right? Many people consume drugs because it's the biggest producer of cocaine. So it's natural for someone to expect that, to have that conception. But I was positively surprised that no, it's actually wrong. Colombians are probably the last person you would see consuming cocaine because it has wreaked havoc in the country. It has destroyed a lot of lives, and it's still impacting people in terms of displacement. And like while preparing for this episode, we just saw some statistics like 500,000 people have died because of the conflicts, and more than 6 million people have been displaced from their homes. And imagine Colombia has 50 million people around that, right? And like 5-10% of the population is displaced because of this conflict, and this has been only happening for a few decades. So it is huge. It is huge, and it has affected almost every single person in the country in some way or the other. So having this misconception just makes them very angry because they've gone through such struggles, and they're trying to get away from it now. And it's such a beautiful country. They've come a long way since those days. And another misconception that I had was security. And of course, it was a huge issue back in the time when the drug trade was in full swing. But I was there for like 7-8 months combined in my two trips. I've never like faced any security issues, any insecurities during my time, and I was probably fortunate. But also, it's because a huge change has happened, and the country is on a great trajectory right now. So having those misconceptions around and just making movies around drugs whenever we talk about Colombia is not right, because Colombia is more than that. Being in this relationship is how I got to know about that. So, but unfortunately for many people, they don't know that. They still have the same misconceptions. So, especially when you are getting into an intercultural relationship, having misconceptions like this, it's not going to help you grow in your relationship. It's not going to help you understand better the other culture. Our suggestion is to just have an open mind and just throw away all these misconceptions, because hey, misconceptions arise because it happened. It may still happen in some places, but it's probably not happening right now. So it's something of the past, and shouldn't be given the power that we are giving it right now.
I totally agree because, for example, one huge thing with me and India is the hygiene from people, from the streets, from everything. I'm not going to say it's a lie because there's certain amount of truth within that. However, it's not everywhere. And there are other great places that are also put in social media, for example, by some influencers, but they do not have the same reach that other influencers showing the horrible sides are getting. The first months I came, many friends or many people I know found very funny to send me disgusting videos about India and how the street food was horrible and how dangerous it was for women. I don't know from which intention that comes, but I do know that I do not respond to that anymore. What else can I do? If you see it, it means that someone did it, right? But it's the same in Colombia. We cannot deny that the drug issue is still there, and security issues are still there. We cannot deny it, but we actively, as a couple, we have to actively look for ways to see the world of our partner with eyes of a baby. Does that make sense? Like new eyes. Like when I came, I tried as much as possible to see this country like a baby. Okay, this is completely new. This doesn't make any sense in my brain, but it is the way it is, and it must be for a reason. In the past, maybe it worked, maybe not now, but it's still there and it has a reason to be. I may agree or disagree, but that won't change the fact that it exists, right? Just that switch of the perspective will make things way easier for you once you are communicating with your partner.
Absolutely. I think when you said you have to look from the eyes of a baby, it's absolutely true because, like babies, they don't know about the world. They don't have any misconceptions or any preconceived notions or anything about that. They just see something and they're like, oh, that looks cool, shiny, I'm going towards that. They don't know it's fire. They don't know it's ice and it hurts when you touch it, but they just go towards it, right? Like they have this open mind and it allows you to learn a lot of new things, and it also helps you adapt better. Me going to live in Colombia or she coming here to live in India, like it's a huge change, especially in this case because it's the Eastern world and the Western world. It's entirely different. The food, the culture, the religion, everything is different, right? So unless you have an open mind and unless you throw away all the misconceptions you've come to know over the years, it's going to be very hard for you to adapt, to learn and live in this new land. And it doesn't just apply going and visiting your partner's countries, but it also applies even if you are living in a third country, right? Because you will be bringing your cultures together and you may still face a lot of cultural shocks because of that. And there's also the third culture, the third country where you're living, and that country is going to give you more shocks. So you just need to have an even more open mind for that. So yeah, so that's the first misconception. Like that's the first stereotypes about our partner's cultures that we need to take away from our minds to thrive in an intercultural relationship. The second point is that love is enough to oversee or overcome all challenges. That's another notion we have, right? Like love is everything, and as long as you have it, there's going to be no problems in the world. But I hate to say it, that's not enough. That's definitely not enough.
I mean, yes, but not entirely. Like, love is everything, love is the basis, but imagine a foundation of a house, and we just put one type of, I don't know, how do you make cemento? How do you make...
you just mix like concrete, right? Stones and all that stuff.
And you have to make a hole. In that hole, you have to put how do you call it? Cement. Right. You have to mix it, the sand with the whatever they have to do with water, right? It's not just powder alone. If you just put the powder, it won't make anything. And it's the same. Love is one element to build that house, to build the base of the house. I believe the other elements include respect. And that's something my friend Daniela, she said to me once about friendships, actually. But I have applied it since then for everything. The basis for us is, yes, love, but also respect. because one doesn't inherently give the other one. The fact that I love someone, it doesn't mean that I respect them immediately, or the opposite, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like respect is huge because, especially in this case, we have different views, different ideas, different goals in life, and we've had different experience in the past as well. So we have to learn to respect this so that we can properly learn to love each other completely. Yes, there is love. That's amazing. It's the most essential element. So, what about the other elements, right? Like, what about your goals? What about how you want to raise your kids? Or what about like the kind of dietary preferences you have? Let's say, like today, she's making something with meat, but I'm a vegetarian, I'm not going to eat it. So, how are you going to face that challenge? So, there's like so many more elements other than just love. The best way to get all these elements together in the right way is to talk, is to just have honest and open communication. And of course, you're not going to hear things that you like, but this is where respect comes in, because even though you don't like, or you don't understand how some things like work, you still have to respect it. Because unless you respect and you give your ears to listen to what it actually is, you won't be able to understand, and you won't be able to figure out a solution or a way together.
Our communication styles are different, right? And that doesn't mean that you have to oversee what is obvious. Let's say we don't have kids yet, but if we don't talk now about either having or not having kids, what religion to follow, what food choices to make, that will become such a huge issue. Because we met, for example, when we were 20. In our brain, it was never intended for me to get married because I was too young, right? And I told you, like, no, I never want to get married. That's just a social construction for people to manipulate women, blah, 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 blah. And then I fell in love with you, and I was like, I want to marry you. And if we hadn't talked about that before, even we got serious, it would have been a huge issue, right?
Absolutely.
And the things I said in that moment changed because we have the right to evolve. And if we don't change, it, like what you were saying, was that in camera or outside of the camera?
Oh, it was outside the camera. It was, yeah, like, I mean, many people say that, like, I used to love you a lot, but I don't love you the same way. It's, of course not, because we're all growing and evolving as a person, and your relationship is also going to grow and evolve over time, right? When we met when we were 20, we had different ideas, different goals, different challenges in life. But now, 5-6 years down the line, we have an entirely different set of challenges ahead of us, and we have entirely different goals that we're working towards to. And let's say five years down the line, we may choose to have kids, and that brings a whole new set of challenges. And along the way, our love for each other as a couple is going to change, it's going to evolve, it's going to grow. It's never going to be the same it was, never. So just don't use that excuse anymore, because nothing's going to stay the same, and love is also a part of that. It's going to change, it's going to evolve. Unless you accept that fact, it's going to be hard.
It doesn't have to be hard. It's all based on the beliefs, right? The system, the belief system you have. From where I come from, I have heard that many times. You're not like you used to be. The flame has died. I don't love you anymore. Period. Reason enough to cancel all you have built for so long, right? That's something I had to let go of. Because even though you say, okay, no, I don't believe that, there's some subconscious, I don't know, whatever, that is there. And it's not okay for the life I want to build with my husband. We don't have to follow everything from our cultures just because we were raised in it. We are adults now, and we decide what we keep and what we let go. In this case, it's that. For me, it's not love alone what is going to be the base of my relationship. It will include, yes, love, but also respect, commitment, discipline, and infinite responsibility, because I am not building just in Spanish a casa. No estoy construyendo una casa. I'm not just building a
House.
a house, exactly. Estoy construyendo mi hogar. I'm building my home. And home, in Spanish, hogar is hoguera, right? Like the home is the bonfire. I don't know how to translate that. Please forgive me. And it's the fire. And the fire is the one that gives all the warmth into that place. So just by doing so, I am making sure that this home that we are building is in our terms, our way, with our third culture.
Yeah. Do you care to explain what third culture means?
It's simple. You are Indian, you have your Indian culture. I am Colombian, I have my Colombian culture. Not just by the countries, also because I come from a farm. You are a city boy. Those things also influence our culture. 1, 2, and then us together will make the third culture.
I can leave some things from my culture, you can leave some things from your culture, but it's not just one of us leaving everything and then just following another culture. No, it doesn't work that way, because one of us will always feel cheated because we are like being taken away from what we know, from what we love. So rather than doing that, just building a third culture together, getting the best of both worlds from the Indian culture and the Colombian culture, and just forming a new culture and just making that our home and our truth, it's very powerful, because it allows us to keep all the things we love from all the things that we know and have lived over the time, and also create some new things of our own. And it's even more powerful because there's just no examples like us in our family and even in our friends group. And maybe now, because we've like expanded a bit, like we've searched online for communities like ours, but especially in the first 3-4 years, we basically knew no one like us, right? It's so hard to relate to the challenges, to the problems, because the problems we are facing, they're not faced by my friends or like my family members, my cousins. They have their own set of problems. It's always beneficial to mix and create something of our own, so that we have the basics, we have a foundation, so that both of us and both of our cultures are respected and included every single step of the way.
I think that's the third mindset for us, right?
Yes.
And how would you call that?
It's like,
Changing to fit, I would say.
yeah, like we have to fit in one culture only. We have to fit in that, we have to fit in this. It applies to everything, but especially in intercultural relationships, sometimes one of us will feel that I have to fit into the Colombian culture, or she has to fit into the Indian culture, and it's just going to be very hard, because one of us will feel cheated, like I said before, and it's just going to be hard to grow from that point, because one of us will not feel respected. And it's extremely important for both of us to feel respected. So it's one mindset we should definitely leave outside.
This topic we are talking about because we are living it. It's not like we have we have everything solved. Not at all. For example, in this specific point, I tried to fit in so hard. the Indian culture. I tried to change myself, and it's not healthy. I mean, I cannot deny it. I have had a hard time living, especially the first months, living in India, because despite no one asking me to do it, I thought that I should give my effort to fit in. And sometimes we don't fit in because we are in the wrong puzzle. Does that make sense? Like, my shape does sometimes won't fit in a different
Yeah, of course.
group.
There's no way, because look, you grew up in Colombia, right? Let's say you're a triangle, and let's say the Indian culture, the Indian way of living, it's a circle, right? How can a triangle fit into a circle? There's just no way. Um, so it's just trying to mix the circle that is me and the triangle that is you, and create a new shape out of it. That's exactly what we were talking about before, like building a third culture, right? And that's the only way. And I know it's theoretically very sound and like sounds like a great solution to the problem, but it takes time. It takes time to figure out. It takes time to just go through the whole process of it and trying to find the right things for us. And I think ultimately it just takes time. Yeah.
Time, communication, and exploration. When we ask, I don't know, ChatGPT or Google or so many other people, they will say like, oh, you can try making Colombian dishes and Indian dishes and sharing holidays. Yes, those are practical things that work, absolutely. But the feeling goes beyond that. And I say it in bravery of showing this vulnerability we have right now in order to get some answers from the community we are building. Because if you have experienced something similar and have overcame,
Yeah,
if you have overcome this, we would love to hear. We want to nourish our relationship also with great experiences from other people. For us to build our third culture, we need also examples. When we can do it, we expect to also be one example of many.
Absolutely. And it's not just us, like many other people watching this may like be going through the same thing. So if you have gone through something, and if you think that it can help us or anyone listening going through the same struggle, you can just comment down below. We'll just take a look at it, and yeah, let's start a conversation.
Our goal is to build a community and also to share with our families what it is like to be with each other. Because as he said, 3 years ago, we thought we were the only ones. Our friends group was not that expanded with international couples. And now we have met people, thanks to this, people who have been together for 20 years, 30 years, and that's mind-blowing. And it's so lovely to see that love goes beyond the political limitations we have created, even the cultural limitations we can find with each other. It's very encouraging. That's all I can say. It's very encouraging.
Absolutely. I mean, look, today the world is very advanced, and it's way easier for us, right? Like, communication is easy, internet is cheap. You can call, video call anyone at like any part of the world easily. But imagine 20 years ago, 30 years ago, these couples, like all the challenges they would have had. If they can overcome those challenges, we can certainly overcome the challenges we have today in 2025.
Yes.
In a very advanced world with iPhones and internet and everything, right? So there's a lot of positivity, there's a lot of optimism and hope. And if you are listening to this and you are also like in need of hope, I hope you just got that right now.
That sentence had 10 hopes.
Yeah. Well, alliteration.
We want to give you hope.
Yeah.
We hope we give you hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Comment whatever you have to say and you have to share, or if you have questions even, just let us know. let us know the community, and they will help you out as well, just like how we want to. Well, we've also been writing a lot of blogs and guides on our new website, and I think one of those would be very helpful if you are having this question. If you don't know whether you fall under the intercultural or multicultural or interracial, like there's so many terms like this, right? So if you just want more clarity on that, Louisa just wrote a neat little post, a table of comparison of all these different terms and what they actually mean. So we'll link it down in the comments and in the captions. Make sure you go and check it out.
Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Masala of Cultures, where we are sharing more lighthearted topics like trips and I don't know, whatever we do in our daily basis.
Yes.
Actually, not on a daily basis, because I don't prefer that. But yeah, make sure to follow us and we can connect easily.
Have a great day.
Nandri,
Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.